What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with a quick update video here in regards to Marvel Strike Force's newest character of Red Goblin being finally added and rounding out the rest of the HIVE-MIND team. We also have the new incursion campaign chapters as well to push additionally further and get those red stars unlocks for your guys' respective characters. Having said that, we're going to be breaking down the kit today, taking a look at some red star orbs for Red Goblin, as well preemptively what ISO-8 makes the most sense right now, with him being that last and final piece for the HIVE-MIND bio team, and more specifically their value that they're adding to the incursion raid. So Red Goblin, what is he bringing to the table? How is his unlock going to be announced here? Well, you can see something that's notable is that he's going to be more of that supportive character for the team, being able to also revive symbiote allies. So he applies taunt to the highest health ally, dishing out lots of regen, and as well having that revive is going to give them that sustainability, right? And especially the room to make mistakes. He also has the opportunity to apply trauma. Enemies with bleed feed into Red Goblin's bloodlust, so it's going to do some additional damage on top of that. We're going to see how that kind of synergizes with this kit, as well even providing deflect. So it is going to be a monthly event character, but Red Goblin's also going to have another specific milestone event, and I broke this down in my Dan and Minds update earlier in regards to some shards being available. So make sure you guys check that out in terms of getting his unlock, but it's going to be a couple weeks until we see that coming into the game. Tons of time to prepare. So first and foremost, every time we have a new character addition, we always want to make sure that obviously the red stars are effectively live, so we know we're not just pulling red stars and utilizing them here incorrectly. So I think I'm probably just going to aim for a 6 red or a 7 red potentially on our luck today, just because of the fact that we're probably not going to see him available in that high stars until a couple months down the line. So I'm feeling okay with the 6 here. He's not game changing enough for me to want to try for a 7. To be quite honest, my rebirth team is still getting it done right now for the bio raids, so I'm not really emphasizing on this team. But having said that, I am going to be making some videos though, just to walk you through if you guys have a min-max HIVE-MIND team. So finally, Red Goblin, you can see here 15% increase in the red star promotion, so we definitely want to be taking advantage of this. Let's get the 6 red and call it a day. So here we go. And obviously, I don't suspect I'll have a lot of upgrades, but if I do, it's going to help us get closer and closer, obviously, to maxing out the rest of our roster and getting all those, 6 and 7s across the board. So that's a duplicate there, which helps us because we're going to get a chancer, obviously, to get more of these reds. Everything adding up here. So this is why I like the 6 right now, because the 6 still has a decent shot of getting a 7, and any duplicates is just going to add to the 7 as well. So okay, I'm doing not too bad. So far we've just been getting a couple duplicates, more so upgrades than anything else, which is nice. And again, everyone's getting closer and closer to maximizing their roster, unless you're newer to the game, transitioning from mid game to end game. We've built so much red star economy now. There we go, beautiful stuff. So that's the 6 red that we're going to be gunning for, and again, quite a few duplicates, but these respectively here were the upgrades, which is kind of nice. Okay, good stuff. So got some upgrades there. Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, it's always nice just to have some additional benefits. She-Hulk's nice because she's also a legendary horseman team, so good stuff there. Okay, Red Goblin, let's break down his kit, take a look at what the T4 upgrades potentially can be, and then also make some assessments on what the ISO-8 is going to be likely. But yeah, interesting times. This is the 3rd version of having Norman in the game already, so great to see him. And then we also have obviously the Iron Patriot also joining too, but this one's really cool with the animation of the pumpkins. Goblin Assault basic attack. So for the HIVE-MIND team, he's going to be actually adding regen on his basic ability, but just the regular attack here, and as well applying bleed. Nothing too crazy. If you are going to T4 this, there's going to be some additional regen here to the HIVE-MIND ally. So let's take a look at the rest of the kit before we make that recommendation. But for the time being, at least level 6 gives us 2 bleeds, which is nice to inflict that additional damage on our enemies. Special ability, Slash and Burn. So he's attacking primary and adjacent targets, once again applying the bleed. So this is how he's going to really hurt the enemies, synergizing with the rest of the debuffs that HIVE-MIND does provide. And it's interesting because most of his abilities do benefit and provide support for HIVE-MIND. So again, this one's going to give a regeneration. Defense down is going to get applied, and in raid specifically, trauma is actually going to get inflicted. So this is pretty big because it ensures that these debuffs stick and cannot get cleansed with the trauma on top of that, right? Defense down also lasting for full 2 turns to all the primary secondary targets, and clears all the negative effects from the allies. I really like this because it's offensive and defensive, right? And so it's a natural cleanse in itself, but still spreading bleeds across the enemies that it impacts. On top of that, regen. And if you're going to T4 this ability with the upgrade here at level 7, the trauma is going to last for 2 full turns. And he also gives a pretty notable heal to himself and all the allies for 30% HP. So for that reason, this one's obviously going to be very important to upgrade if you have a high red on him, because it's going to be even more notable HP. But as well, the trauma lasting for 2 turns, that's ensuring that all the debuffs really stick for a bit. So for that reason, I think this special does make a lot of sense to capitalize on right away and upgrade. It's going to have some meaningful impact to ensure that the enemies can't really do much with the debuffs on them. Ultimate ability is Out for Blood. So if this character does not have trauma on him, he's going to transfer negatives from each of the HIVE-MIND allies to himself. So he's actually kind of taking away all the negatives, and it's going to obviously increase as we level this ability up. But in raids, he's also going to be copying negative effects from himself to each enemy and then clearing all the negatives from himself. So there's a reason for that logic, right? He's bringing it all to himself, and then he's going to be healing himself for each of the negative effects that are cleared, and also dealing a notable an AoE attack applying slow. It's also unavoidable. So as this ability gets leveled up, it's going to be similar to the basic and special, where regen is going to get applied, additional increase here, uptick in damage, more transfer negatives is going to be occurring, slow lasting for 2 turns, additional regen. But more notably, I think this is the typo that they were talking about earlier from the speculated updates that we've seen live, is that there's going to be additional damage per positive character on this. I think it should have actually read negative, but we'll see how that gets updated here. But I think that was the little typo that they caught earlier. And if you're going to T4 this ability, guys, it transfers 5 negative effects from each HIVE-MIND onto himself. And then in raid specifically, he's also going to be copying 5 of those negatives from himself and inflicting it upon his enemies. So for that reason, this is a very devastating ultimate ability. Both these abilities actually were pretty low cooldown too. I think there were like 4 or 5 each. So he's going to be getting this quite a bit, especially if fueled by the ability energy granted from Gwenum. So he's going to be able to rinse and repeat this quite a bit. It's a very powerful ultimate ability. Definitely maximize it. Special and ultimate make the most sense for now in terms of T4. I would leave the basic. And then last but not least, the passive being Scarlet Shredder. So on turn, he's healing for 20% and applying Deflect Taunt to the highest HP HIVE-MIND allies. If he's charged, he's going to be reviving a symbiote ally. So it's kind of cool because this mechanic here is actually a passive. It's not on command, right? You can't really revive when you want to. It's only when he's going to get charged. On the death of a HIVE-MIND ally as well, he's going to be gaining speed bar and additional block chance, and each of the HIVE-MIND also gaining block chance. So as you can see here, guys, he's going to be applying Deflect on HIVE-MIND, 30% damage provided for the rest of the team. So this is going to make the team stronger, and with his supportive buffs, like, he's really going to be a foundational character for this team, right? You do want to have him as one of the 5 characters because he really kind of completes that, especially with the energy getting granted from Gwenum. Defense up, a damage increase here, and as well as a mechanic when they drop below that 50% HP threshold, he's going to be applying Safeguard and Death Proof, ensuring their survivability, and also giving him speed bar to make a difference in that battle and in that moment, right? Lastly, if you're with the T4 upgrade, when any enemy takes damage from bleeds, he's also going to be applying Deflect up to a maximum of 5 times to himself and all HIVE-MIND allies. So this is why it's super important to have this passive upgraded, because every time he's going to be inflicting bleed, which is all his abilities, he's also going to be applying Deflect, and it's not just himself. Increase in damage, the fact that he's going to trigger protection when they drop below that threshold. This character is going to really push HIVE-MIND over the top and make this team, future-proof for the raids right now. Super Scroll could have potentially been that 5th character, but given the kit of Red Goblin, he's going to be bringing a lot to this team, and especially what he's doing on an offensive and defensive standpoint. So he's inflicting a lot of debuffs, obviously. I think there's a couple of ISO-8s that do make the most sense. If you guys have lower stars on him, you want him to consistently land the ability. So I think Skirmisher is a good one. He's applying vulnerability. It's ensuring his abilities do land. But later on, when you do have higher yellow stars on him, I think he can be actually a couple of options, right? I mean, you want him to do more bleeds, right? So having a strike on him is going to get him another chance to attack, applying 2 bleeds here with the level 6. So Striker makes sense. A Skirmisher can make sense. defense the most. I think those two I'm leaning towards because he's not really meant for damage. He's more of that supportive character, providing vulnerables and as well as stacking more bleeds, which equal more deflects for the rest of the team. But let me know what you guys think in comments below. This is my preemptive assessment right now. A very, very strong character that's going to round out the rest of the HIVE-MIND team. And like I said, it's going to put this team over the top with what he brings to the table defensively and the debuffs that he's inflicting on his enemies. So good luck in your guys' Red Star Orbs. Do appreciate you checking my videos. Let me know what you think in comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.